My DM banned a spell because I used it to stay alive. To be fair...
To be fair... The
spell is Silvery Barbs.
Okay, she's gonna roll an insight check. Silvery Barbs! Oh my god. She has to reroll, she has to, that's the spell, that's how it works.
Which I know a lot of DMs hate in general. They do, and for fairly good reason. I actually allow it in my games, but I fixed the spell. Now it requires the creature that you're using it on to pass a charisma save. If they fail the charisma save, then the effects of Silvery Barbs go off. Basically, the situation was I misinterpreted a situation with a demon and thought he was going to try to kill the party. Stupidly, I struck first, thinking it was our best chance at beating him. The DM then revealed that this was some insanely powerful demon, one tier off from a prince. The demon starts doing insane attacks and just laying into me. I tell the rest of the party to flee and use every single spell slot I have on shield, Silvery Barbs, and invisibility, and eventually I get away too. The DM was annoyed that his cool monster didn't feel threatening enough, I guess. I certainly felt I was in danger. So he says Silvery Barbs is a broken spell and bans it on the spot. Edit, I also used haste. Yeah, I had a DM like this, and let me tell you, nobody enjoyed when that call was made. Banning usually doesn't feel good for anybody. Let them have fun, but just talk to them about the balance and see if there's any way you can compromise. DM tries to gay shame a friend in me, and then it gets worse. So a year ago, my friend John, my girlfriend Jane, and I started playing in a new group with two friends of ours, and Kyle, the GM, a friend of theirs. We agreed on playing a lighthearted game focused on exploration and curiosity. I made a male human fighter of low birth who aimed to become some kind of champion, while John played a female elven wizard of noble birth who wanted to find out who she was outside her family. Over the first 5 or so sessions, John and I noticed that we had created the perfect opportunity for a cliche romance with the lowborn guy wanting to prove himself to this out-of-reach highborn girl, and she wanting him to acknowledge her for her personality and not her heritage. Cliche? Maybe. Awesome story anyways? Absolutely. So we started RPing this romance, exchanging flirty banter, awkward compliments, and the like. Nothing sexual or dirty, as no one at our table is into that kind of stuff. We really had fun, and the other players liked it too. One of their characters even trying to matchmake us. But soon, the GM Kyle started to try to convince everyone at the table that we were gay, even though we are both straight, for romancing each other, even though we obviously only did so in character. For a while, we were like, okay, whatever, when this came up, because we were having fun nonetheless, and didn't want to open Pandora's box. But after a while, session 16 or 17, I think, our characters actually became a couple. And at that point, Kyle really just lost it. First, he tried to punish us in character, even though we didn't get that at that point, and just thought he wanted to challenge us as a group. He then... Oh, f you, dude. He then very awkwardly tried to convince my girlfriend that I, being obviously gay, wasn't right for her and that she should get together with him and his superior straight maleness. I can't get through it. After that very awkward session, we decided we would sleep over it and then discuss it with the group on the next day. But when we woke up, he had messaged John and me that he had to kick us from the table because he just couldn't be around gays, and had then blocked us everywhere. He had also messaged my girlfriend inviting her to stay at the table and to dump me. Bro. At that point, even the two friends of ours who had tried to stay as passive as possible about the conflict decided that they could no longer play with him. We decided to start a new campaign with John as the GM, and I've been playing happily ever since. We wrote Kyle a letter, yeah, an actual letter, as he had blocked us everywhere, trying to explain our point of view and the problem with his homophobia, but he unsurprisingly never answered. I am kind of curious at this stage whether or not he was actually homophobic or if he just really wanted to try to get an excuse to convince his girlfriend that she should be with him instead. I'm glad that this one at least had a happy ending. I wonder if the next one will. I accidentally made the female players extremely uncomfortable. This isn't nearly as dark as some of the other stories shared here. Really just an unfortunate misunderstanding that was happily resolved, but trigger warnings for the usual topics all the same. I was in a campaign between late 2019 and March 2020. Oh no. I hope that's not relevant. A low-level campaign, homebrew world reminiscent of Eberron. Great thing to base something on. Eberron might be one of my favorite D&D worlds, though that is quickly being kicked away because of Neon Odyssey. Not sponsored, I am just so hyped. We were all co-workers and ranged from being friends to at least being friendly with each other, so no strangers. The party consisted of myself, playing a rapier-wielding tiefling bard, a human paladin, a human fighter, a warforged druid, and an Eladrin bard. Our DM, fighter, and I were all veteran players, and the paladin, druid, and other bard were first-timers. The druid and the other bard were both women IRL, which is relevant. I'm a guy, which is also relevant. Oh boy. What proceeded over the 5-ish month campaign could easily be described as normal D&D. We bantered, we fought, we negotiated, we RP'd, we led a revolution, we uncovered a conspiracy, all that good shit. Everyone was happy. There were no incidents. I want to be as clear as possible. I in no way was playing a problematic bard. No hitting on barmaids, no hitting on other players, no seducing my way into or out of trouble. My character was not sexualized in any way, nor was anyone else's character. We were having good, clean fantasy fun. The issue that prompted me to make this post came up at around the 2-month point. We had finally hit level 3, at long last. DM was stingy with XP, and we were able to take subclasses. Having always planned to go for College of Swords, I eagerly made my choice known and traded in my rapier for a pair of scimitars. After that session, the other bard player privately, awkwardly thanked me for finally changing my weapon choice, which confused me. Oh, crap. After a series of tactful back and forth questions in search of clarity, I came to the extremely uncomfortable realization that the two newbie female players, eager to learn the game, but with no frame of reference for how things worked, and with little background in fantasy, had thought that the sword I'd been using was called, I'm gonna have to bleep this, was called a rapier. They didn't know what a rapier was, and it hadn't occurred to anyone else to explain it to them. For 2 months, two women who I was friends with and worked closely with had been putting up with the idea that my fantasy persona was a charismatic musician with a sword. Their introduction to D&D consisted of everybody acting like it was normal for one of the players to carry around a stick as their primary weapon. I was mortified. I'm mortified. Fortunately, this proved to be something that was easily explained. Between Google images and references to Princess Bride, I quickly clarified what a rapier was, much to their relief. The party continued, and we are all still friends, but I'd give a lot to rewind back to the start of the campaign and clarify what weapon I was wielding, because I am incredibly embarrassed by what they must have thought of me for those 2 months. See, this is something that people don't really realize. D&D has gotten very popular, including among people who aren't major pedantic nerds like I am, who don't know every single type of weapon that could be in the game or is in the game or should be added into the game. I'm sorry, S-Stock should be a thing. I'm definitely not an Alucard fanboy.
Oh my God.
I am so glad that OP and his friends were able to clear that up. A new player ruined my campaign and became my fiance. So I met this girl at Pride and we had spent the day together. I don't like being alone in crowds because of a medical condition I have, so I figured I'd tag along with her and and she was pretty cool. So I invited her to hang out with me and my friends playing D&D. So we get to her first session with the group about 2 weeks later, and she shows up in a very revealing outfit that includes a fairly translucent top. I should mention that I was 14 and the rest of the group ranged from 13 to 19, and she was 16, and this took place in England. DM won't stop staring at her tits as the game goes on, and the rest of the party in character is extra friendly to the new girl's character, a half-elf cleric who worshipped the god of redemption and could only speak when spoken to. That's actually a really cool idea for a character. Her character was actually super cool, and she played it pretty well as a sacrifice she chose to make and not magically forced upon her. There were times she broke her silence and would be highly self-critical and attempt to right the wrong she had done, all because her character had been a corrupt noble's daughter who used lies and deceit to get rid of her family's enemies, so her silence was her way of atoning for her sins. Yo, this character slaps! But every session devolved slowly into the DM rewarding her and making sure she couldn't fail, to the point everyone else felt useless. Eventually, she tells the DM during a session that it's ruining the game after she rolled a nat 1 on a charisma save and still managed to succeed the save against the BBEG using dominate person to remove her from the fight as the healer. DM argued about it, saying he didn't want to punish a new player too harshly, and she reminded him it had been 4 months at this point. Other players brought forth their grievances of their characters being sidelined for her and how we all thought he was just trying to weirdly flirt with her. DM admits to being attracted to her and that he may have favored her a little, to which her response was, "I'm gay. Honestly, I only joined this campaign because I had a crush on OP, but it was fun, so I stayed." We all took a hiatus, and she called me asking if I still wanted to be friends and that she didn't want her crush on me to end our friendship. I told her we were good and that I didn't quite know how I felt about her. Well, fast forward 5 years and we are now engaged. Yes! I love that so much. Not the DM. The DM was being creepy. Look, I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I noticed that OP said the group ranged from age 13 to 19. I'm gonna bet GM was the 19. Ew. Editing Finn here. I completely forgot to film an outro, but I just wanted to say thank you all for watching. I've been presenting these stories on Shorts and TikTok for almost a year now, and I've finally decided to make a more podcast format of this. So if you enjoyed it, please follow, subscribe, whatever the platform that this is on allows for. I'm very new to this, so please bear with me if I'm making any mistakes. And if you want to submit your own stories, you can submit them at finnrthebard@gmail.com, or you can join the Discord and submit your stories there. Thank you all so much. I love you all. I am sick as fuck.